You all asked for an updated epic tier list, especially because Bjorn Ironside is now in the roster, and so here we are. We're going to review the very best epics in Rise of Kingdoms, and we'll give you two tier lists, in fact. One for the very best epics overall, and that'll primarily be focused on open field. The other is going to be a tier list specifically for Canyon, so let's start. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and our tier lists are among some of our more popular videos, so we're going to break down the very best epics in Rise of Kingdoms. But before we begin, I want to tell you about the sponsor for this video, which is Infinite Galaxy. In Infinite Galaxy, you explore the vastness of space to claim territory, battle fierce foes, and yes, take down other players. In this game, you'll be building a collection of flagships. You'll use those to wage war with your collection of war ships, whether it's the sprightly frigate, the mid-sized destroyer, or the massive cruisers. Your fleet will go head-to-head against opponents in space combat and in the campaign. But it wouldn't be much of a fleet without its crew. Your crew will help define and customize the way that your team works together as you build out the most amazing space station the galaxy has ever seen, building up and constructing things from your headquarters to your military center to make sure you're ready for the next encounter. Along the way, you'll do a ton of research, advancing your space station's capabilities in both situations against players and in situations that help you build up and get stronger. What happens next in this game? Well, my friends, it's entirely up to you. We're 5 months in to playing Infinite Galaxy, and man, I am still loving it playing in Nebula 13. If you'd like to join us, use the link in the description to download the game that does support the channel, and use code CHISGULEPLAY. CHISGULEPLAY, one word. To get some free stuff, you use that in the redeem section up over here in the settings. You smash pack exchange, drop in the redeem code, and you're good to go. Chisgule Play. I'll even write it in right here. This code is going to work for players who create their account after June 18th. And what are you waiting for? Join us in Nebula 13. Or suspecting some Nebula versus Nebula action is going to fire up sometime in the not too distant future. There's not migration in the game yet, so start in our Nebula. We'll get you set up and off to the races in a great alliance. Oh yeah, baby. This game, heck, I'll see you there. I'm having fun playing it. Oh, and thank you again to Infinite Galaxy for sponsoring this video. Let's get ready to rumble, baby. Here we go. Very best epic. Slam dunk. Picking it up with a bang is going to be Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is absolutely fantastic. He's a garrison captain. He does AoE damage. He's good in every single game mode. He should be one of your first epic commander investments, and the joke is that he's epic tier, but he's sort of like the legendary quality epic. He's really, really good. Use him, get a ton of value, and also use Joan of Arc #2 on the list. She just holds an unbelievable amount of value because of her first skill. She's really a one-trick pony. She doesn't do skill damage. She does a joke amount of healing, although it does become relevant. And she's got a little bit of extra normal attack, counterattack damage. It's really the active skill, generating rage, providing buffs to a group that's just so good that you would probably be wrong to not use her, especially you're bringing 5 marches. Now, her buff will only target a total of 5 marches. That is her march and then 4 others. And it will prioritize your marches over your allies' marches. So keep that in mind when you bring Joan of Arc to the field, which you should be doing. Now, I've got to rank the brand new commander, Bjorn Ironside, and he's really solid. I don't think I can quite give him the S tier, but the A is where he belongs. Infantry commander with an area of effect, skill damage taken debuff. People are probably underestimating just how fantastic that works. It is really quite strong. Other A-list commanders, of course, has to include both Baibars and Belisarius. who get fast movement speed when they break from combat. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Baibars has area of effect damage. Belisarius is good for battling barbarians. I still use him every single day for barbarians because he's a peacekeeper. So yes, that is absolutely fantastic. You should be using him and get a ton of value. Now, I do need to talk for a moment about Boudica, who is a commander I'm going to put in at a B. She's a bit of a glass cannon, but is arguably, in my estimation, the first commander you should invest in. And you may be like, whoa, Chisgule, but she's a B. But she gives you more experience when you battle barbs. If you're in the early game, you need experience. You need to level up your commanders. She gives you 20% more experience. Even you have just 1 point in the second skill, you start getting more experience. People look at Spain's civilization bonus and they're like, ooh, more experience. Boudica, more experience. Good starting point for a commander. I know not everybody will agree. They might say go Sun Tzu instead. It's fair. That's totally fair. But she clocks in at a B. She's strong, and she only falls off because she's just too much of a glass cannon. She just really is too much of a glass cannon. And speaking of barbarian peacekeepers, we're just going to drop Lohar in at a D. Too many of his skills are just pure peacekeeping. They're just focused on barbs. They're good for that. Don't use them for anything else. Anything. Anything else. Now, there's a commander I need to talk about that you would be fairly surprised, and that is Matilda. And I'm actually going to drop her in as a D. But when we get to the Canyon tier list, that's going to change a lot. So just keep that in mind. She's a D for now, but she'll definitely be higher later. Clocking in also at an A is going to be Kira. Kira is really, really, really good in scenario battles like Soroli. The downside with Kira is you really can't even get her for quite some time. It's going to take months and months and months, maybe even a year, before you actually unlock Kira. By the time you get her, actually, technically, I'm still using her on a couple of my accounts in Canyon, but this isn't a Canyon tier list. This is just an overall tier list right now. Canyon portion we're getting to at the end. Her open field area of effect damage is very good. Her damage factor really stacks up. She deserves the A. Area of effect damage is very strong. I want to now go to a couple more B list commanders. That is going to include Herman. He's got march speed. I like that. Generates rage. Really good. Silences the enemies. Good utility. High damage factor, by the way, on an epic, all things considered. He definitely deserves the B. He's strong. I don't think I can promote him up to an A. I don't think I could do that. I want to, but I don't think that makes sense. And I think at a similar tier, I'm going to give Kusunoki a spot. Now, both of those are garrison captains. Kusunoki's got area of effect damage. Herman does not. But Kusunoki lacks any tankiness whatsoever. He's a total glass cannon, which prevents him from really going any higher on this list. Now, I'm a little bit torn about where to put some of these other commanders. I think a lot of them are going to clock in at B, and that includes Pelagius. This is a commander that, if you're using calves, I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. He really is. He generates rage, single target damage is pretty solid, and he heals. He's got a little bit of tankiness in his stats, some attack, some defense. It's really very well balanced for a cavalry commander that does single target damage. And that's really his big downfall, is, of course, doing single target damage. He is constrained in that way. You don't get as much value out of him, battling barbs like you do Boudica. I mean, it's the barb smashing that keeps Boudica kind of up in this list for B. But I think he's in a similar spot. And I struggle a little bit with where to put this next commander, and that's Osman. And I think that if we assume you've got the right rage engine, I'm going to give him an A. Khan Osman, crazy. Any commander that generates a ton of rage, is going to make Osman amazing. That is because his third skill triggers 400 damage factor whenever you use your active skill cycle. And it triggers for both the primary commander and secondary commander. So it's an extra 800 damage factor. It's really a lot of damage. He's quite strong. I wasn't sure where to put Ulji Mundok. I feel bad dropping him in at a C for overall rating, but I think that's what I want to do. He's just got some utility, single target damage, a little bit of tankiness. I think he is kind of a cut below the others, But that's a different story when it comes to Canyon, and we'll show you that list. Last but not least is Diao-chan, who is actually not obtainable right now. I thought she was going to show up in the tavern. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, she will be in the tavern, but as of right now, she's kind of not available for most players to obtain. I'm going to drop her in at a B, really high single target damage. Maybe she should actually be an A. She's got some healing, which is quite strong. The problem is that her single target damage is done over the course of 4 seconds. And the problem with that is that nobody's just going to sit there and let you deal damage to them. Nobody. Well, unless they're disconnected, right? And so that's where I really struggle. It's the same problem Frederick the First has when you're battling other players. She is great for battling barbs. Don't get me wrong. For an epic, fantastic. So good. But other players, she's good. It's just, man, you'd better have a lot of march speed to be able to actually chase down targets and stay on top of them to make that damage happen. Otherwise, it's the highest damage factor, but you're not actually hitting them and you don't get the benefit. So this is where we land on our epic tier list. Sun Tzu, Joan of Arc at the very top overall. Really strong investments. Now, this picture changes a good bit when we want to talk about Canyon, which we need to do right now and reset the board. Now, I have to say, some things actually do stay the same. Joan of Arc, I'm going to put at S tier, and I'm going to leave her as the only S tier commander. Why am I going to do that? Because when Sun Tzu will be replaced, Joan of Arc will still be in the roster until you have a commander like Trajan. And even then, a lot of people still use Joan of Arc in that roster. We're going to drop Sun Tzu down at an A. Now, I'm going to use all the different levels of this tier list to try to really differentiate between the different commanders here. And we know we're going to drop Lohar at the bottom. I told you, don't use him for anything except battling barbarians. Don't use him for barb forts. That's not really what he's here for, okay? So Canyon tier list is what we're looking at. The area of effect damage is absolutely key in Canyon. I'm going to say that again. Area of effect damage is absolutely key in Canyon. So I'm going to put Kira and Kusunoki up in the A category as well. Now, look, Sun Tzu is better than them. So maybe we'll use the whole left to right adjustment layer here to try to keep this in a relative scale. Sun Tzu is better, but their area of effect damage is very good. Baibars also has great area of effect damage. Area of effect damage is like the name of the game in this game mode. But also, you do need some tankiness. The reality is that you do need some tankiness in this game mode, and that's where a commander like Ulji Mundak does extremely well. He offers a ton of tankiness, actually. Like, when you're being hit, he has a chance to do a bunch of damage back. He's going to reduce the defense of the target, and he's got some defense himself. That combination of things is great for a front-line commander. And, oh my gosh, I realize I somehow don't have SCIPIO on my list. Where's SCIPIO? SCIPIO! Where would I have put him in the overall rankings? I mean, I would have given him a C. I would have given him a C, and in this tier list, I actually would give him a B. I'd give him a B. All right, I edited in his picture. Hopefully this will be funny. I give him a B. The tankiness in Canyon's actually really good. Really good. He's really good at, like, his skills, you don't really want to run SCIPIO into the ground in the open field, but that's when he starts to kick into high gear, doing healing, extra damage. He offers counterattack and damage taken reduction on his active skill. You compare him with Joan of Arc, and it's actually pretty legit. It's actually super legit. Speaking of super legit pairs with Joan of Arc, yo, how about Matilda? She does some serious work. Like, borderline should be considered an A for her tankiness. It's crazy. You do all this, like, siege thing. I'll have a card up in the top for the crazy Matilda siege combination that works so incredibly well. And I actually rate that higher than the Ulji Mundak. It's so good for mobilizing your Joan of Arc. It's really a phenomenal combination. I also want to clock in Bjorn Ironside, and I struggled to give him an A. I don't think I can because he doesn't have area of effect damage, but he does have an AoE debuff. Bjorn Ironside's skill damage taken debuff is really good. I think you could use him. I struggle a little bit because it's not area of effect damage. It's a problem. But we'll clock him in at maybe a B for now, and we can adjust later. At a C, I'm definitely going to drop Boudica. I'm going to drop Pelagius for their single target damage. We're going to put Herman there. I'm going to put Diao Chan there as well. It's fine, but not gangbuster. I'm going to put Belisarius in this category, although he does have tankiness. He has like 30% defense. That is really quite good, but most people are not using Cavs in their front row. But I'm just going to bump him to the front of this list because I think that actually, relative to some of these other commanders, like, he is pretty strong. He is pretty strong. His debuffs are pretty good. And the last commander that I struggle with is going to be Osman. I'm not sure where to put him exactly in this list. The extra troop capacity is really nice. Technically, with the right rage engine, you could do a ton of damage with Osman in the back. But is it more damage than like you do with area of effect damage? I don't think so. For being a high damage commander, I'll give him the B. I'll give it to him. But barely. And I'm really not sure he should be ranked higher than the Belisarius. Now, these are ranked in order completely. And how I would use them and tier them up. So, for example, the commanders to the left over here, Kira, I would use Kira before I would use Kusunoki, or over Kusunoki, instead of Kusunoki. If you're looking at archer commanders and you've got only one spot for an epic, and you probably will only have kind of one spot for an epic in the back row conventionally, you're looking at doing either Esong with Kira or Kusunoki. And you may think, but Chisgule, what about El Cid? No area of effect damage. I don't think El Cid, even 5-1-1 or better, or 5-5-1-1 or better, is going to quite cut it. The area of effect damage is really the name of the game in Canyon. It really is. Hopefully you found this guide helpful, and if you did, throw a like on here, and consider subscribing for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos designed to help you get value and smash your enemies. And if you're looking for more information about epic commanders, I have epic commander talents and guides for literally every epic commander. Even, I'm pretty sure, I think I have one for SCIPIO, even though I forgot him on this list. Man, am I just forgetting SCIPIO everywhere? Well, I don't know. You'll have to go check my playlist. Card up in the top for epic commander talents, and tell me which commanders I still need to do. God, did I forget SCIPIO? SCIPIO, I done you wrong, buddy. Until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and leave a comment with what you think of this tier list.